the spokesperson of the Uganda National Bureau of Standards, UNBS, emphasized the position of a quality mark. What is the quality mark? Now, I probably think most of us know that mark that is always on a product, or a UNBS quality mark that is always put onto a product, because then that shows that that product can actually be used to show the world that that product is of standard. Just like when a product is actually getting out of the country, it should have a UNBS mark if it is actually going to be exported. And still, it shows that it's actually having the standards, or they have actually viewed it. Is it a forgery product? Is it health-wise okay to be used? Is it because when you look at what UNBS considers for a product to hit the market, that is why in most cases when UNBS starts making various tracking and going to various supermarkets and retail shops to check out the different products on the shelves and the different products that are being showcased or that are being sold, what they look at is identifying to see whether these products have their mark, or these products have records with the UNBS. Because at the end of the day, if a product doesn't have a standard mark, then it ceases to be of high quality, or it ceases to be of quality. It may not be of high quality, but it ceases to be a quality or a standard product, a product that is supposed to be sold to Ugandans or to any other person who may not be a Ugandan but still operating business here, and as well as consuming any product from either Kenya or any other product from Uganda. So that is why the Uganda National Bureau of Standards is there to see that they regulate every product that is actually being brought into Uganda. Sylvia noted that ahead of the festive season, UNBS is educating consumers on what to do to ensure that they buy their products which has good ingredients that mark its certification. So UNBS's standard mark is just like a certificate that shows you that your product is supposed to be on the world market, and it shows you that your product is of a standard market and it's on a high brand, or it is something that is going to help you out. So look at it in a way that, hey, we are considering building, or we are considering setting out goals for each one of us, but which product are you producing? We are looking at building the Bubu policy in Uganda, looking at the Buy Uganda, Build Uganda. But we always forget that if you're to look at the Buy Uganda, Build Uganda, even the quality matters. I remember of one channel back in the day, one TV station that was back in the day during our childhood days, that always had that quality matters, and quality did matter a lot back in the day. So quality does matter when you're competing in the market. So look at a scenario where we have almost 10 brands of sanitizers on the market. So this is where I'm trying to draw comparison, or trying to give some relevant example. Or we can actually have 10 various brands of, let's say, soap. Let us look at some products that are always putting people's lives at risk, where your health is always put at risk, because every product that you use that has not been quantified or has not been certified by the Uganda National Bureau of Standards, it's putting your health at risk. Look at, I've always been moving around in Kampala, in town. You get to see some people on the road there. Some people normally have products that they normally showcase on the streets to show you the health risks associated to using those products. I normally see them putting on various drinks, soda, let's say edibles. Look at normally clothing that can actually put people's lives on risk, more so when it comes to cancer-associated diseases and various diseases as well. So which can actually show you that these products may either be smuggled into the country, because if you see, most of us prefer getting cheaper things. But cheaper things come with a cost, and a cost that is going to actually tarnish your image, and a cost that can actually also hit hard in terms of your health. It can actually put your health at risk once you're putting yourself, if you're putting your health at, or if you can say, if you forget that your health is quite important in that way. So let's try to look at this. First and foremost, UNBS operates a product certification scheme in accordance to the provisions of the certification regulations of 1995. Under this scheme, manufacturers apply for and are granted permits to use the Uganda Standard Certification Mark, which is the quality mark. I think it is in, is it an hexagonal format, just like a circle, but it's having some design with the UNBS in there and some blueprintings. The quality mark on their product, after demonstrating compliance of their products to the requirements of the relevant national standards. So the UNBS gives a provisional certification. And under this scheme, you as a manufacturer or you as a business owner and you're manufacturing a product, you head out to UNBS, give them samples of your products, you give them the recipe, or you give them what you use, because they have to look at a lot of things before they give you this mark. And you have to pay for it, by the way. So they get to visit where you work from, because these are some of the things, these are some of the tests that they do. It is just like a survey. They have to identify, he is dealing with, let's say, herbal juice or herbal medicine. How big is his point of work? Or let's say, how big is his company? It may not be as a bigger franchise than, let's say, a bigger plant of Coca-Cola or anything, but it can actually be a small but organized environment. So there are a lot of things they look at. If they look at the ingredients that you use, look at the recipe that you use, what do you use for these products? You may be saying you're selling herbal drinks or herbal juice, and yet what you're actually inputting into these herbal things is quite the opposite of the herbality or the herbability that you're saying that it actually cures. And if so, if it cures what you're saying, there are a lot of things that they're looking at here. So clearly, as time goes by, they're looking at it, and as well as before giving you this mark, because the mark is going to regulate you. It is going to show the world that this standard is, your product is of the national standard. So every time UNBS is actually tracking down various products that are being smuggled into the country, what they do is doing a various survey in various supermarkets, because in most cases you will see there are products that come through the country and they have various standard marks. Let's say you've seen various products having KEBS, that is the Kenya Bureau of Standards. So that also gives a standard mark or a standard certification for a product in Kenya that has been made in Kenya. So the same applies to Uganda, where you have the UNBS. So what the UNBS does is to go to the different markets or the different supermarkets. They start tracking down, and it's the same exercise they are continuously going to do. They go out to supermarkets, search for the products that are on the shelves. They look up to them. So they try to look, because they know where they put their mark and they know how their mark looks like. So when they go out, they look at the mark, and after seeing that the mark is not of the standard that they expect, then that means you either face a penalty, or you're going to get closed, your premises can be closed, or they track down the person who is actually supplying these products to you. And then this person is going to give us why and who gave them the room, or who gave them the go through to continuously supply these products. Because first of all, you have products that are outstandard, because if you don't have the mark, okay, sometimes it may be a new company, but they may be of standard. But it's up to you to go to UNBS, get the mark. Why not? Because it's going to help you in the effective and the smooth running of activity, and it is actually going to help at the end of the day for you not to incur various costs. The UNBS product certification scheme aims at providing third-party guarantee of quality, safety, and reliability of products to the consumer. So this time around, it is also focusing on the third party. Like I've been mentioning, there are products that put your health at risk. So this is where the situation comes in. It is actually putting a consumer as the number one priority. So when you are prioritized as the consumer or the customer who's receiving this product, UNBS is looking at it in a way that, hey, you are going to buy or purchase this product with your money, a hard-earned money that you've been working for. At the end of the day, you expect to have a product that is going to help you, a product that is going to boost something. Because when you go to a supermarket and your eyes are called to one product, or the product catches your eye, what you're going to do is making sure that you go for it. You purchase it to see of what effectiveness does it have. But what we forget most probably is we don't know of the health risks that are attached to it. That is where UNBS steps into it, because they want to see which standard is the product that is on the market. We are seeing various products being advertised on television stations, on various media platforms, different social media platforms as well. But the question is, how safe are they for you to use? Because UNBS targets everything, and among which UNBS also looks at the expiry of some products, because there is a range that you're supposed to give a given product before you put it onto the market. Sometimes if a product sees actually, if the expiry date of the product is out, then that means you're going to get a product that is poisonous to your life. Because if you look at some of the products and are associated to, let's say, in most cases they will tell you taking fused drinks put your life at risk. Now imagine taking an expired fused drink. So a lot more and a lot. And why do people normally say fused drinks? And why do we have a number of companies that have always been coming through in Uganda selling fused drinks and what have you, and most of them are now bowing out of business? The standard. Maintaining a standard in terms of productivity is very important, and keeping or maintaining a standards in the production sector is quite important. That is where UNBS steps in and says, hey, our consumers are number one priority, so they're prioritizing the customer, the person who is going to buy the product, the end customer or the end receiver. A product is actually sold, is actually manufactured from the factory. So when it is manufactured from the factory, that is from the producer, and the producer sets it out to the market, to the retailers and what have you. So these retailers sell them to the consumers and the customers. So you can clearly see where the whole picture comes in, that when we say you are the priority, and they are saying, UNBS is looking at saying, is putting it in a third-party approach, that yes, you have a product on the market, but how sure are you that it is not putting the life of the consumer or the customer at risk? Because hey, we're seeing them as the number one priorities, and we are prioritizing them at all costs. So it is high time you use this opportunity to see that you track down for a producer out there as well. So the presence of the UNBS mark on a product is an assurance of conformity to relevant standards. The conformity is ensured by regular surveillance of the manufacturer's performance by surprise inspections and testing of samples drawn both from the market and the factory. So the conformity is ensured by regular surveillance of the manufacturer's performance by surprise inspections and testing of samples. So where do we draw the situation here? Surprise inspections. The catchword, surprise inspection. This takes me back to when I was telling you UNBS has to get through to see where do you work from. Okay, we know that you're dealing with this and this. You're selling, or you're a soda manufacturer. How about if we shock you with a surprise visit to see that what you showed us when we made an official visit, because there is an official visit. Normally, if I'm to actually take you back to school times, there was a time when we are expecting, and believe me, you could see the administration trying to act so sweet, changing the nature of food that you eat. If I told you you are eating maybe fried beans on VD, they will start preparing. Or if it's speech day, or if it's a student's day during school, you would see the administration trying to if at all, if when you have visitors. In my secondary, we used to have a bishop's visit. So during the bishop's visit, you would see some developments coming in, and it normally happened in second term. And when second term is coming, that is when, if you'll excuse me, that is when a school could actually try to get up with the innovations. And the different innovations would see that, hey, you would see schools panicking. I would see the school administration coming through and making sure that, hey, before the bishop comes to the school, we need to come up with one. The school tried to identify a lot of things. They normally came up with construction of different pathways. You could see pavers being established. You could see we could actually have elections of new prefects, new student leaders, and at the same time, this was also to show the world that, hey, our school was well prepared, our school is always good. That was because there was an official visit. So UNBS looks at this as a way of targeting and looking at a platform that, hey, we know we are going to make an official visit, and the official visit is going to help out on the people, and at the end of the day, it is going to put you in a situation that, hey, that when we say this is the official visit, they are going to prepare. And once they're preparing, they're going to deceive us. Maybe they're going to create a situation to show us that, hey, it is going to be an impressive situation. That tukola bino na bino beyonje babere smart. Kati surprise inspections, you will find a bigger factory or a bigger company shut down. And you would wonder, hey, how can such a big brand be shut down? Why? Because UNBS will carry out some survey and say, let's shock them with a surprise. And when they shock them with a surprise, it is not only surprising that you will realize that, hey, these guys are not doing what they promised to us. So the conformity is assured by regular surveillance of the manufacturer's performance, by surprise inspections and testing of samples drawn both from the market and the factory. First, they go to the market, draw samples, see the quality of that from, let's see, in March, you did a product that was produced in March. Is it of the same value of that product that is produced in April, or is this the same product that has been produced in November? Look at that, they start varying. They look at the quality of that. And looking at the quality of that means they are following up to check and see, okay, it is okay, you've been doing this and this, but then what does it mean? So if at all it is actually happening, what does it mean? And why would you do something like that? So why they do this inspection is to check out on the confirmation, on to see that, hey, this is happening. And if you're doing something behind closed doors, because with an official visit, you would see that people try to impress. But when you leave and they don't expect you to come, there are some additives that people do, because once a factory is growing and the demand is high, people tend to even forget the recipes they're supposed to add into a product. You've actually found out that there are some products that have different tests as time goes by. Why? Because it is actually risking, and which actually shows that it is actually happening. So at the end of the day, it is putting you at risk. Okay, away from that, let's look at this situation here. Now, the Uganda National Drug Authority arrested 2 people in eastern Uganda for smuggling, relabeling, and wholesaling vet drugs. So this puts us in the same picture where UNBS is targeting the situation. Now, this was a statement as of November 3rd, 2021, and on October 30th, and that is the National Drug Authority arrested Olieba Richard, who has been operating MHK Veterinary Drug Shop, that's in Mbale, Bus Park, for supplying and wholesaling drugs smuggled from the neighboring Kenya. So all this, if you look at the smuggling of products, it goes back to what UNBS has to offer. And then the other is the operation was into intelligence led after the surveillance team learned that the suspect that was arrested with the aid of other accomplices, including Lutiro Eunice, a resident of Butimbwa village, as well as Butimbwa village in Namisinda district, who first went into hiding, have been smuggling veterinary drugs from Kenya through Busia border, relabeling and wholesaling them in eastern Uganda. Some of the smuggled and relabeled drugs include Actress from 12 to 5 EC, purportedly an acroside, and there is another one which is a Diwama. Look at all these products that were smuggled. Then there is a hormonal product for inducing ostracycle, as well as a wound spray were recovered from the drug, including the ceiling. So the drugstore had all these that were smuggled. So let's first call for this video coming in from the National Drug Authority, where they actually arrested these 2 people for smuggling and dealing with wholesaling of vet drugs.
A drug dealer, only identified as Eunice, was arrested from her home in Bubutu Town Council, Namisinda district.
We came here with intelligence-led from the people.
And if you're looking at the situation now, some of Richard's arrest helped NDA's team to crack down into his network of counterfeits and smugglers that led to the arrest of Lutiro Eunice, on November 2nd, 2021. UNIS has been one of the key suppliers in the eastern region of smuggled and relabeled veterinary drugs, and with the help of the police, a CID search was conducted later on. So you can see what it means for the level of smuggling in the country. This is a statement from the National Drug Authority, and which shows you that at the end of the day, there is a lot to spare and a lot accounted for, and that means everyone is supposed to watch what you need to do in terms of the quality of the products you put in or you put out to the market, because UNBS is going to be tracking this down. UNBS is going to be tracking every other detail, and the same as the National Drug Authority. You see now the National Drug Authority looks out for the various drugs that are on the market that do not meet the standards, that are putting people's lives at risk. And this takes me back to the situation where I've actually been telling you this is putting the consumer as the number one priority, prioritizing the consumer, because the consumer is the number one person when it comes to this. They're looking at making sure that your health is not at risk with the products that you consume, because it is your money that you use to buy from them. So these are people who actually, these two people were arrested in eastern Uganda for smuggling and relabeling as well as wholesaling vet drugs. So someone smuggles in a product from Kenya, relabels it, turns it into his own product, and then puts it on wholesale for vet drugs without even passing through UNBS certification, without URA accrediting that it's actually an imported product. So you can see all these are cases that are putting people's lives at risk, and as well as putting you as the producer as well as the seller or into the law. Okay, and away from that, that brings us to the end of our topical analysis. We'll be back with the news hour and check out what is happening from the world of business. Stick around.